Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Utility Sports. And in today's video, we're coming at you with our NFL Week 8 predictions and pick'em for what is going to be a crazy week in NFL football. And if you guys are new to our channel, haven't seen our Week 5, 6, 7 predictions and so on, make sure to go and hit that subscribe button. First of all, we'd love to have you be a part of what we're doing here on Utility Sports, really emphasizing the you in Utility Sports, making you guys the center of our content, what you want to see. And we're doing that best here by having an NFL jersey giveaway. That is right, Justin Fields, a free jersey for one of our lucky subscribers. All you have to do, be subscribed, leave a like on today's video, and also leave a comment. Could be anything about the video. Could even be something simple like jersey giveaway. That's all you have to say to be entered. Hoping to give our jersey away very soon to a very lucky subscriber. Without further ado, Austin, let's jump into our NFL Week 8 predictions and pick 'em here now. With our pick 'em records, I am sitting at 36-21, and I'm still 2 games back of the wizard himself, Austin, leading the way at 38-19. The king of pick 'em, I guess, would be another name for you at this point. Continue to hold that lead over me. We'll see if this week can help me catch back up in the standings a little bit. And we take a look at our Week 7 NFL bye week teams. We have only 2 this week. There was a ton last week. This week, we have the Las Vegas Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens coming onto a bye week. Raiders at 5-2, Ravens as well at 5-2. Raiders coming off a win, Ravens off a loss. They'll have some things to build up for as they go into the next week. Of course, this is the Week 8 bye teams. Now for our locks here, I have the Cincinnati Bengals over the New York Jets. And Austin, you actually had the Los Angeles Rams as a lock in their game this week against the Houston Texans. We did not get that up on the graphic, excuse me. Break us down with your thoughts there on the Rams over the Texans, Austin.
Yeah, I think the Rams are definitely going to handle the Texans. The Texans have just been struggling in a lot of areas of the game so far this season. And the Rams are definitely a team that are one of the most well-rounded squads in all of football. I think they are going to get the job done. I feel very, very comfortable as a lock there. And now getting to yours, you have the Bengals, who had a monumental win over the Baltimore Ravens. Now they're getting a banged-up Jets team. What's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, the Jets, even when they're healthy, probably going to be a team that the Bengals would look at as lesser competition and a team that they feel like they should beat even when the Jets are healthy. Currently, they're not. Zach Wilson, the day we're recording this, had felt a pop in his knee, he said during one of his meetings after the game, during one of his interviews. So there's some real question marks about what his outlook looks like for next week. Mike White's not going to get the job done against Cincinnati. Zach Wilson probably wouldn't get the job done against Cincinnati. I feel very confident that Cincinnati beats my New York Jets this week and shows that they are a team for real. Currently sit atop the AFC conference at 5-2. Then moving into our upsets here, Austin, I have the Detroit Lions over the Philadelphia Eagles. The 0-7 Lions are my selection here. And you actually have one of the better games in all of football this week. The 6-1 Packers over the 6-0 Cardinals. The Cardinals, of course, are at home in this matchup, making the Packers a underdog in this game. Why did you opt for Green Bay over Arizona?
Aaron Rodgers is absolutely on fire right now. I trust him going into Arizona and getting the win. These two are not strangers to each other. They play each other in some big games. I think the Green Bay Packers are well equipped to beat the Arizona Cardinals. There has been some points and times in the season where the Cardinals have looked somewhat vulnerable. They almost lost to the Vikings had it not been for a missed kick. So I look at Green Bay as a real threat to this Cardinals football team. And now flipping over to yours, you have the winless Detroit Lions as your upset over the Philadelphia Eagles. What is the main reason for that? Do you think it's really the ability of running the football?
I think there's 2 real things I want to draw on here. First of all, Detroit's at home in this game, which gives them a slight edge, in my opinion. Having to play at home gives you a little bit of an advantage. I think that they can come out and bring some of that energy, which is really my second point here. Dan Campbell's team has been playing hard. Whatever you want to say about the team, the roster, the talent that they have, you can't knock this team's heart and the effort that they're putting out on Sundays. They have been in close games, even when they shouldn't be. And I think that this is finally the week that Dan Campbell gets his first career win as an NFL head coach. And I think there's no better time here than for the Detroit Lions to do it in Week 8 here against Philadelphia. Moving into our Thursday Night Football matchup, what a phenomenal Thursday Night Football matchup this is, too. We have the 6-1 Packers going up against the 6-0 Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be a phenomenal game. We actually unanimously went with the Green Bay Packers here. Of course, we do not talk before making our selections. So we both came to this conclusion on our own that Green Bay goes into Arizona and gets the win. My key thing here, this isn't going to doom the Arizona Cardinals season. It's hard to go undefeated. They've been playing such good football that this isn't going to be a serious blemish on their record. The Packers are just a really good football team who've been playing really, really great as well. Both teams have won their last 6 games. Austin, what's your one key to the game here for Green Bay?
I think for Green Bay, it's going to be establishing the run to really open up the pass game. That's the big thing. Obviously, I think Aaron Rodgers has the ability to go in here, really control tempo. And if they can get Aaron Jones going early, it's going to be tough for Arizona to stop both the run and the pass.
Right. I think this is going to be a game with a lot of offense. I'm not sure how the Packers are going to slow down Kyler Murray and how they're going to slow down those weapons there in Arizona. But at the same time, I'm not sure exactly how Arizona limits what Aaron Rodgers can do, especially when plays break down, moving out of the pocket. He offers so much in those departments that it's going to be a great game. This is a must-watch Thursday night football matchup. Honestly, at this point of the season, Austin, do you think this has been the best Thursday night matchup we've had all year?
This is far and away the best one. We thought the Rams Seahawks was going to be better, but I think this is the best one for sure.
Right. There is just so much talent, a lot to see. And that brings us into our Sunday slate here. Of course, starting with the noon games, we have our first game of the day, Panthers at Falcons. And I think this is a really tough one to mock. The Panthers dropped their last 4 games all consecutively, and the Atlanta Falcons sit at 3-3, arguably one of the worst teams in football with 3 wins at this point. There's still a lot of flaws on this roster. And it's going to be a bloodbath game here, I think. I think that this game is going to be very, very close. We both went with the Falcons. How much was home field advantage key for you here? And then what's one key thing to watch for Atlanta?
The Atlanta Falcons do, generally speaking, play well at home, regardless of their team. Their home fans always show out. Really impressive home crowd there. But the key to me is going to be, what Sam Darnold are we going to get? We have more recently seen the bad Sam Darnold, and I think even against the Atlanta Falcons, maybe he can establish some confidence, despite, just because their secondary is not very good. However, I think once again, we might get that bad Sam Darnold.
That's kind of a key thing to watch for sure, because as a Jets fan myself, I've seen a lot of that bad Sam Darnold, and the Carolina Panthers have had it for 4 straight weeks now. Just really inconsistent play at that quarterback position. Got benched today for PJ Walker. We'll see what it looks like next Sunday for the Carolina Panthers. I have Falcons here. I think Kyle Pitts, a little bit too much to handle for that Carolina Panthers defense. We'll see how it gets done. We both have the Falcons here winning this one. Moving into an interdivision matchup here, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. Titans come in at 5-2. The Colts at 2-4. Lot to break down in this game. The Colts haven't had quite the season they're looking for. We both went with the Titans, Austin. How key is the run game on both sides of the football here?
This is going to be a very, very running-centric game. Derrick Henry is going to have a big game against the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor will also probably have a pretty big game himself. They're going to go blow for blow. But I like Tennessee as a whole more. They just came off a huge win against the Kansas City Chiefs. And really the key to this game is, can Tennessee get home and get to that quarterback? I think that was the big key for the win against Kansas City. They really got after Patrick Mahomes. If they can do that two straight weeks, huge W for the Tennessee Titans.
Right. I think one other key to this game as well is, can A.J. Brown string together a second great week in a row? He was phenomenal today in their win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Can he do it again against Indianapolis? I think if he does, Tennessee probably cruises to a win in this game. Of course, it's hard to cruise to a win against a divisional matchup, but when you have Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown both clicking on all cylinders, I think the Indianapolis Colts just don't have enough offense to keep up with that dynamic duo there for Tennessee. Moving into our next game, another interdivision matchup here, this time of the AFC East. We have the 1-6 Miami Dolphins traveling into Buffalo to face the 4-2 Bills. We both went with the 4-2 Bills here. This one felt almost like a lock here, Austin. Dolphins lost a close one to Atlanta today. What's your thoughts on Buffalo versus Miami here?
Definitely could have been a lock for this week. The Buffalo Bills are just going to be too much for this Dolphins team to handle, especially defensively. The Dolphins have to make sure that everybody's healthy in that secondary. That's the big key to the game. If they are healthy in the secondary, they definitely have a chance, but I think Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, it's just going to be way too much, and especially with Buffalo being at home, I really like him in this matchup.
Briefly, Austin, I just want you to talk about the Miami Dolphins a little bit more because you and I both had high aspirations for this team. We thought, hey, maybe they can even slip into the playoffs. You know, a tough division there in the AFC East. You have to deal with the Bills, the improved Patriots. But 1-6 here, currently a worse record than the New York Jets even. What is wrong with Miami?
It's their inability to consistently run the football is what's causing this team a lot of issues. I know a lot of people were really excited about Myles Gaskin going into the year. Selman Ahmed is another guy people were excited about, but it just hasn't worked. And that's part of the reason why they thought they were just fine going into this year with Gaskin going to be the true breakout player. He hasn't been that guy. Unfortunately, week to week, we're not getting consistent play out of him. Therefore, making it be, there's a lot more pressure on Tua on a week-to-week basis. And also their defense wasn't what it's been over the last 2 seasons. So that's the big reason why they are sitting at 1-6.
Right, that inability to run the football leads to some predictability in that offense. And I think Gregory Rousseau is going to be a big name to watch this week for Buffalo. I expect him to have a big-time game against the Miami Dolphins here coming off that that left edge position. Looking now into our next game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the New York Jets. This game, of course, at MetLife Stadium. 5-2 Bengals, top of the AFC, coming into the Jets, who are 1-5. Question marks around that quarterback spot with Zach Wilson's injury, and he hasn't even been playing great when he's been healthy this year. We both went Bengals, probably would have went Bengals even if Zach Wilson was not injured, was healthy. Austin, is there any chance that the New York Jets walk out of this one with a win?
I don't feel very confident. Zach Wilson or not, I don't believe in this team right now and where it currently stands. They've struggled mightily in every single game except in that Tennessee game. However, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are clicking on all cylinders right now. They took care of a very, very good Baltimore Ravens team in this last week here. So I like the Bengals. They can run the football. They can sling it around. And the New York Jets have just been struggling in a lot of different phases, especially their passing offense has been way, way down.
Let's get into a little bit of a fantasy football discussion here real quickly, too, in this video, Austin. Jamar Chase, is he a wide receiver 1 now in fantasy football PPR leagues?
He's an absolute lock as a wide receiver number 1. He's been consistent. 13 points has been his worst week so far this season, which is a great, great floor.
Right, you're looking at a high ceiling as well, posting big, big plays very consistently. Over under, Austin, 125 receiving yards for Jamar Chase this week against the New York Jets.
I'm going to hit the over on that one. I think he very well could go for 130, 140 against this Jets secondary.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to watch here and probably a lot of offense coming from Cincinnati if we're being honest about this game. And this is coming from a New York Jets fan. No hate, just reality. Moving into another interdivision matchup. There is a lot of interdivision matchups this week. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Cleveland to face the 4-3 Browns. Of course, a very good matchup here in the AFC North. A very tough division as well. Steelers at the bottom of that division, currently 500, 3-3, coming off of a bye week. We still both opted for the Browns, who have a little bit of injury concerns. Of course, Dearness Johnson had his big breakout game on Thursday Night Football this past week against the Denver Broncos. Case Keenum also started that game. What makes you opt for Cleveland here in this one?
I think another week of Case Keenum starting is going to do well. Obviously able to shake off some of the rust, and he might be able to kind of rekindle some of that 2017 magic with some really good infrastructure around him. Hopefully Nick Chubb will be back for this game. He's got a nice collection of weapons on this offense. He has a good offensive line. I think they're going to do exactly what they need to do to win this football game. They're going to run the ball well. They're going to play defense. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have been kind of struggling this year as a whole. Ben Roethlisberger hasn't looked like the Big Ben of old, unfortunately. And they also lost a backup quarterback, Geno Smith, when they played Seattle.
Right. I think that Case Keenum is no slouch. Let's not overlook him. He's a very, very good backup quarterback, and I think he gets the job done here at home against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, if their offensive line was a little bit more consistent and Ben Roethlisberger's been putting together better performances, probably would have opted for the Steelers. But given the circumstances, Cleveland still gets the job done with a backup quarterback if Baker Mayfield's unable to go. Eagles at Lions here now. Again, the 2-5 Eagles walk into Detroit against the 0-7 Motor City Kitties here, and we have both opted for the 0-7 Detroit Lions. First time in Pick'em that either of us have selected the Detroit Lions. Probably a good reason why we have such good records in our Pick'em. However, we're switching up from our routine, going with Detroit here, Austin. What is one key thing you're watching for from Philadelphia if they are going to get the job done in Detroit?
Really, it's for Jalen Hurts to play mistake-free football. If they can really control possession, make sure they're not turning it over, giving Detroit a short field, I think that's the huge key to the game. Also, it's got to be their ability to generate pass rush on Jared Goff and force turnovers themselves.
Right. I think one thing, too, that's important to touch on for our viewers is even though some of our picks have been unanimous, meaning we both made the same assumption that of which team's going to win, doesn't mean we think it's an obvious decision either. I think we were both very close on picking Philadelphia here, Austin. What is the over-under you're expecting for a Detroit win here in this game?
The over-under here, I think that's got to sit at 3. It's going to be such a close game. I think definitely these teams here, or I should say 3.5, excuse me. These teams are really, really close in terms of overall roster talent. I think Philadelphia slightly edges them in terms of overall roster. So I want to know your thoughts. What's the key win, or what's the key reason why you picked Detroit?
Can DeAndre Swift keep up on the ground what he's been able to do? Because I think Philadelphia, their front four defensively, so strong that I think that for DeAndre Swift, it's going to be important to get going early and then be able to continue to build off of that to really let Jared Goff do what he does best, and that's really work out of the play action. I think that's Jared Goff's greatest strength as a passer. And if the run game's going early, I think Detroit can control this game. Otherwise, if they can't get the run game moving early, they're going to have some issues going into some of their wide receiver options later on in the year, throughout the game. The game script's going to rely on running the football, and I think if they can get that done early, first quarter, that they can go on and win this game. And probably win by that, one touchdown mark is my expectation here. Moving on now, Rams at Texans. This is one game I considered for my lock. This was your lock of the week. 6-1 Rams going into Houston to face the 1-5 Texans. Not much to talk about here, Austin. Is there anything you want to highlight on?
I just think it's going to be the LA Rams are going to definitely put up a show offensively, especially through the air. Once again, you can expect Cooper Kupp to add to his phenomenal season. Definitely going to go over 100 yards in this one.
I think most notable here for Los Angeles and the Rams, what do you think their ceiling is this season?
I think that you very well could be looking at a potential Super Bowl team. I think they are that caliber of a team. Sean McVay has proven time and time again he can do a lot with not as much. Definitely saw that last year in the playoffs. And also when they made that run to the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots eventually, he's a phenomenal coach. He's going to keep it going.
Yeah, I think that they are a team that has Super Bowl aspirations and could potentially reach them as well, which leads us now to the other side of the coin, the Houston Texans, who do not have Super Bowl aspirations at this point of the season. However, it's important to touch on the Week 8 trade deadline. We're at that time of the year. Tuesday after the slate of games, trade deadline is the November 2nd, 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's 3 p.m. Central. Could we see the Houston Texans making a move during this time where they trade quarterback Deshaun Watson? The league has said that he would be eligible to play games throughout this process if traded. So, do you see Deshaun Watson getting traded and then making his season debut this year for a different team, perhaps the Miami Dolphins?
I think he is going to get traded. I think Miami's got to be the head trade candidate for him, the most likely. The Miami Dolphins are going to be willing to part with multiple first-round picks as well as Tua. I think that's probably the package that the Texans would be the most interested in if we're looking at all of the different teams and what they could potentially offer. And I think they have to make a move somewhere. And I think this is what's going to happen.
This will have massive ramifications throughout the NFL. Deshaun Watson possibly getting traded is going to shake up divisions. It's going to shake up the way that teams are building. Specifically, the Houston Texans could bring in a lot of draft assets, and that'll shake up our mock drafts as well. So make sure you guys are checking those out on the channel because there is a lot that can change throughout the process. Moving into our next game here on Sunday, we got the 49ers at the Bears. The 49ers before Sunday Night Football this week were coming in at 2-3. The Bears at 3-4. In this matchup, we both opted for San Francisco. Is it because of Justin Fields' inability against the rush this year to really diagnose blitzes and just kind of the Bears' shortcomings as a passing team overall, or what's really the keynote for you?
I think it's going to be slightly overwhelming for the Chicago Bears offense to face this San Francisco defense, who they're so good at generating pass rush. Their front four, very, very good at getting to the quarterback. That's the big reason for me. I think the San Francisco 49ers are also going to run the ball effectively versus the Bears. It's going to be a close game. Once again, this was a hard one to pick. By no means was this easy. I do like San Fran in this one, though.
3 words for me: line of scrimmage. I think that's where this game is won and lost, and I think San Francisco handles them easily along that line of scrimmage. It's going to outgain them on the ground, and I think they're going to get after Justin Fields early and often, causing a lot of havoc in the backfield for the rookie quarterback, who I think has a lot of upside. And remember, could get his jersey in the jersey giveaway. However, this season has struggled a little bit against the blitz and against pass rush. Moving into our next game, Patriots at Chargers, one of the closer games of the week in my estimation. Patriots coming at 3-4, Chargers 4-2 here. Game is at SoFi Stadium there in LA, however. Austin, we both opted for the Chargers. What separates the Chargers from New England in this one?
I think the Chargers are definitely going to get it done through the air. Now, that's one of New England's strengths, is the cornerback play that they've had so far this season. The Chargers are really going to test them with that, with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and also Austin Eckler through the air. They have a lot of different ways that they can hurt you, and I love Justin Herbert and how he's played. I think the Patriots are going to offer an interesting challenge, but it is nice for the Chargers that they don't have to go into Foxborough and play these guys.
Yeah, most definitely. The game being in LA definitely does favor the Chargers here. It's tough to go into Gillette and walk out with a win. Patriots don't have that home field advantage in this one. I see the Chargers walking out with it as well, specifically because of the pass game, like you mentioned. Then we have Jaguars at Seahawks, which is another really close game because the Seahawks do not have Russell Wilson. He's on IR, so Geno Smith will be starting again. They're 2-4 before Monday Night Football this week, and the Jaguars are 1-5, coming off of a bye week here. Austin, we both opted for Jacksonville in this one. Why did you go with your own Jaguars in this matchup?
This doesn't happen, folks. This don't happen. I don't pick the Jaguars unless I really feel they can actually win. This is the first time this season I picked them. Reason being, Geno Smith's the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. The Jaguars are coming off of a win. I think that's huge in terms of momentum. They had the bye week. They were able to rest up. Jacksonville is going to run the ball, and I think they're going to run the ball effectively in this game. And as long as Trevor Lawrence can kind of replicate what he did against Miami, I think they're in good shape. Definitely need to play mistake-free football, and that's really the key for me.
Right. I think here Jacksonville has the advantage in the pass game offensively, and they also have the massive advantage of time. Seattle coming off a short week because they have Monday Night Football matchup in Week 7 going into Week 8. They only have a few days to prepare, whereas Jacksonville has had a whole extra week because of their bye week to prepare for this game. Get healthy, get right. I think that they're going to come in, win this game early, and hold it throughout the game. Jacksonville is my pick as well. Moving into Buccaneers at Saints, another interdivision matchup in what is going to be a really good one. There's a lot of drama there between the Buccaneers and Saints since Tom Brady came out to Florida. Buccaneers coming in at 6-1. Saints are 3-2 before their Monday night matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. I think we both expect them to move to 4-2 before this matchup. However, we both opted for the Buccaneers, even with some of the injuries to that secondary. The Saints haven't been airing the ball out deep. Talk a little bit to that, Austin.
I think for the New Orleans Saints, the key here is going to be running the ball, but Tampa's done such a good job against the run this season, and teams are really having to make their playmakers make plays. But the huge thing for New Orleans is, can you win the one-on-one matchups outside? Tampa's going to test you with some man coverage. They really trust their front four and getting to the quarterback, so they really want to see what you can do with your playmakers on the outside. And that's where the New Orleans Saints have to capitalize and target this very, very injured Buccaneers secondary. So I think for them to win the game, it's got to be the New Orleans Saints have to throw the ball outside, and Jameis has got to play mistake-free football against the blitz.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to do that. We know how much Todd Bowles, their defensive coordinator there in Tampa, loves to send heat. He did that historically as the New York Jets head coach and has been doing it historically since being the defensive coordinator there in Tampa Bay. Was a big reason why they were able to get after Patrick Mahomes last Super Bowl and win that ring. We'll see if Jameis Winston can hold true to the pressure this next week. Moving into Washington at Denver here. Washington coming in at 2-5, the Broncos 3-4. And we actually have a split thought here, Austin. You went with Denver at home. I opted for Washington. Let's get into yours first, and then I'll break down my thoughts on why I opted for Washington.
For me, it's the Denver Broncos being at home. That was the big determining factor for me. I was very close picking Washington, but I opted to go with the home team. They have to run the ball well. Javonte Williams is the X factor in this game. He's going to be the reason the Broncos win the game if they do. I would really like to see him rush for over 100 yards. And if he can do that against this stout defensive line, that's going to be big trouble for Washington, who has not looked as great as they should be defensively. You're really going to have to see a big game from Cortland Sutton as well.
One word for me to describe Washington and also Taylor Heineke is resilient. I just see the resiliency of this team, and specifically Taylor Heineke being enough to get the job done in Denver, specifically when you're looking at this matchup. Of course, Denver's got a lot of very good cornerback play right now. So I think the key thing is when they go to their man-to-man coverage that Vic Fangio likes to run, how does Taylor Heineke take advantage of that? If Denver doesn't have a spy set up on Taylor Heineke, I think he's going to run for a lot of yards in this matchup, use his legs to his advantage, beat pass rush, get inside the tackles when he has to step up in the pocket, and I think he's going to make a ton of plays with his feet in this game. I opt for Washington barely, but I think with Denver having a few extra days to prepare for this, having a Thursday night matchup, it's going to be a very close matchup. Moving then to Sunday Night Football, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who have been playing such great football at 5-1 now, going up against the Minnesota Vikings, who are 3-3. Maybe could have won a few of those close games as well and be even up higher. Could arguably be 4-2 or 5-1 themselves, Austin. I think this is a great Sunday night matchup. We both opted for Dallas. I have my reasons. Let's hear yours first.
I think for me, Dallas is going to be able to expose the secondary play of the Minnesota Vikings. They have a ton of playmakers on the outside. They have Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. Those are going to be the key factors for them. Winning those one-on-one matchups against guys like Breeland and Patrick Peterson, that's the key to the game. Can they throw the ball? And they have been able to all season long. It's going to be tough playing in Minnesota with that crowd. However, I think Dallas gets the job done on the road.
For me here, this game is going to be such a great game. I think it's going to be close throughout the whole duration of that game. Kirk Cousins deserves a lot of respect with how he's played this year. It has limited turnovers, has been making big throws all year long. However, this has a recipe for disaster and a key moment for me for Kirk Cousins. There's no denying he struggled in primetime games, and you're going up against a team in Dallas who has a legitimate playmaker on defense in Trayvon Diggs. I think Trayvon Diggs gets another interception this game on a key play in the third or fourth quarter where Kirk Cousins makes a poor decision on Sunday Night Football when the lights are brightest. Cowboys walk away with this one from a key play from their defense in either the third or fourth quarter. Which brings us now into our final game of the slate. This, of course, being Monday Night Football. We have the 2-5 New York Giants versus the Kansas City Chiefs, who are sitting at 3-4. This game is at Arrowhead Stadium. Austin, coming into this matchup, would you have expected the Chiefs to only be one game ahead of the New York Giants?
Not even close, not even a little bit. I think you'd be lying to yourself if you didn't think this as well. Heading into the season, the Kansas City Chiefs have not looked good defensively. Patrick Mahomes a little banged up after the game against Tennessee, so we'll see if he does play in this matchup. We do not know that yet at the time of recording. He will for sure play in this matchup. And we are under the assumption he can go. And I think that this is going to be definitely a game where Daniel Jones has to not turn over the football. He cannot afford to do that against this Kansas City team because they are so opportunistic on offense. When they get that short field, they're a tough team to stop regardless of what the record says. So for Kansas City, generating those turnovers against Daniel Jones, really applying some pressure.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Kansas City, this is a must-win game for them. They can't afford to go down to 3-5. That's just not good for where they're at. The Raiders are playing good football. The Chargers are playing good football. It's rare for me to be saying a must-win game for Kansas City, but I swear half of our incorrect picks this year, Austin, feel like it's Kansas City, honestly. So they need to get right. This is a big win for them Monday night when the lights are on. They need to go out, perform against New York. This is a must-win. They need to walk out of this one with a win for me, and I expect them to do that. I think they'll be 4-4 heading into Week 9. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy our picks this week. Let us know in the comments which ones you think we got wrong and which ones you think we did right in our picks this week. Of course, a lot of different things that can go on a Sunday night. So there's a lot of different things that can change throughout the week. But this is our picks and predictions, for Week 8. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, subscribe, like, leave a comment so you can be entered for the Justin Fields jersey giveaway. And we'll see if I can catch the picks wizard himself, Austin, after Week 8. Again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.